Subject: the remake of the music video for the song Freestyler by Bomfunk MCs, 2019. Not rated. Interference point: immediately after Raymond E. Banks, B.O. Dub, imbues the protagonist's mobile phone with reality-altering capabilities. Result: the other passengers in the subway car have been replaced by 5 instances of SCP-3922-A. One instance confiscates the mobile phone, while the other 4 confront Dub, accusing him of being dangerously irresponsible. Accompanied by a techno, hip-hop beat, Dub responds that he did nothing wrong. Points out that the protagonist's reality-altering activities would have been carefully monitored. Emphasizes that he was prepared to completely rewind time and undo the events if the protagonist began to abuse her newfound abilities, and says, the best way to test a potential recruit's moral fitness is to let them think they have unlimited power. Foundation musicologists have identified this as parametrically consistent with typical Bomfunk MC songs. During this, the protagonist appears significantly distressed. The instances quietly discuss Dub's points among themselves, then offer the mobile phone to the protagonist. Instead of taking it, she recoils in horror and flees, jumping out of the subway car and onto the platform. The camera then shows her running up the escalator and out of the subway station. Investigation of Ebanks and other members of Bomfunk MCs has not revealed any anomalous phenomena. Subject: a Serbian Film, 2010. Interference point: beginning of the film. Result: entire film is replaced with Don Bluth's A Troll in Central Park, 1994, with Serbian subtitles. Note: well, it's a Serbian film now. Researcher Paulson. Subject: Bound, 2012. Unrated. Rated 18 in the United Kingdom. Interference point: the scene after Marcus bullies Marty. Result: Marty is approached by an unarmed instance of SCP-3922-A when nobody else is around, who asks him if he is okay, to which the surprised Marty enters a conversation with the strange man, who acts as a sort of personal therapist to him, to which he eventually gets Marty, who is feeling scared and uneasy, to confess about Steve's activities, just wanting for all the pain and bullying to stop, to which the SCP-3922-A instance, after comforting him, calls his superiors on a walkie-talkie, confirming to them that they've got the one. Soon enough in the next scene, Marty's home is raided by several SCP-3922-A agents, with them finding Steve in his room, and demanding him to get down on the ground, to which he immediately attempts to flee with his weapons, but is incapacitated and taken into custody. His parents, unable to do anything but watch in shock and horror, while a single 3922-A instance inspects the bowling ball bag, confirming it to his superiors over the radio that the severed head of an African-American woman who recently went missing is inside, with Steve being charged with multiple murders and planning another and being hauled off to jail. The rest of the film depicts Marty's parents and the town's reaction to his older brother being a serial killer who primarily targeted black people because of his racist views. Marty's father is eventually arrested soon afterwards for child abuse, while him and his mother both receive psychotherapy by the Three Moons Initiative, trying to understand and come to terms with what has happened, with Marty attempting to improve his life and stand up for himself, while not embracing the evils that his brother committed. Subject: Threads, 1984, 15. Interference point: beginning. Result: the film becomes a 5-minute series of radio and news reports, detailing how the Three Moons Initiative has led peace talks between the Soviet Union and the United States over the situation in Iran, with leaders of both nations agreeing to donate their entire nuclear arsenal to the initiative for their struggle against the Thrall Dominion. Subject: Funny Games, 1997. Not rated. 16 in Austria. Interference point: Beginning. Result: 109 uninterrupted minutes of the Scover family, including Sissy, playing humorous board games. Seen briefly through the window, the house guarded by a fortified detachment of SCP-3922-A. Subject: The Poughkeepsie Tapes, 2007. R. Interference Point: The Beginning. Result: the intro of the movie is skipped over entirely, beginning with the first tape of Edward Carver, the serial killer of the movie, in the process of abducting his first victim, an 8-year-old girl, when he is suddenly ambushed and put under arrest by a SWAT team of SCP-3922-A, where he is taken away into a police van, the little girl being taken care of by a single 3922-A instance, while the voice of who is presumably her mother rushes onto the scene, and Carver's camera is picked up before being turned off. Most of the film's runtime is home videos and other media of its victims from the original film, enjoying their lives without them being ended and/or ruined by Carver. At the end of the film in 2001, police raid a house in Poughkeepsie, New York, who discover Carver in the basement, rescued but being irreversibly damaged from his ordeal, having clearly been tortured and imprisoned over a very long period of time, whereupon plans and evidence of his crimes and mental state being found all over his home, he is sent to a psychiatric hospital. Instead of getting to sadistically enjoy infamy as one of the most feared serial killers in the country, Edward instead ends up as an obscure case of a mentally unwell man who was punished for crimes he planned to do, but ultimately wasn't able to commit. The final scene of the movie shows teenager Cheryl Dempsey happily celebrating her birthday with her family, friends, and her boyfriend Tim. Note: well, I got to say that was chilling, but quite unique for the Three Moons Initiative. Instead of just killing him on the spot, they let him live, but neither being able to commit any of his crimes due to the intense trauma inflicted upon him, nor will he be able to get any attention from committing such horrific acts. For all intents and purposes, he will just be a traumatized, lonely nobody. Researcher Lang. Subject: Saw, 2004. R. Interference Point: when Zepp moves to murder Allison and Diana. Result: a SWAT van with the Three Moons Initiative insignia, displayed on the right side of the vehicle, pulls up outside the Gordons' residence, much to Detective Tapp's confusion. A team of SCP-3922-A bursts through the door, and with the help of Allison, overwhelm and arrest a scared and hopeless Zapp Hendel. Allison tells Lawrence over the phone that she's still alive, which prevents him from cutting off his own foot. Using the information from a defeated Zepp, the 3922-A, joined by Tapp, rush over to the sewers, where they reach Lawrence and Adam, freeing them both from their chains, and upon discovering that the corpse in the middle of the room is actually still alive, apprehended him and take away for questioning. The film ends with Adam, Lawrence, and the others being questioned by police and being attended by doctors, where Adam talks to the police due to his job as a photographer. Lawrence confesses having an affair to his wife, where after all they had been through, respectively decide to get a divorce. Zepp gets the antidote to the poison in his body, while accepting his arrest, and the mysterious man, who upon him awakening, and being tased, due to him attempting to attack Tapp out of rage, upon realizing his plans were ruined, and revealed to be John Kramer, the real Jigsaw killer, is officially put under arrest by police, being charged for his various crimes. The film ending with the 3922-A exiting the room, Kramer yelling at them that this won't be the end of his mission, before the door is closed on him. Subject: Creep, 2014. R. Interference Point: when Joseph attempts to stop Aaron from leaving. Result: a SWAT team of 3922-A soldiers bursts into Joseph's house and overwhelms him, forcing him down to the ground and placing him under arrest. All the while Aaron is shocked that his camera keeps on rolling, asking what's going on to, which the main soldier tells Aaron they'll explain to him later and advise him to return back to his home. The next scene back at his home, Aaron is being questioned by 3922A investigators about Joseph, being informed of his various crimes in the past, including how they found many recordings of his past victims in his house, much to Aaron's shock and horror, realizing that he himself was really close to being murdered by Joseph. The rest of the film details Aaron's investigation into Joseph's life and backstory, while the man himself is put on trial and sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole, with the loved ones of his past victims receiving reparations. The film ends with Aaron reminiscing about his time with Joseph and his subsequent arrest, ending the film in a happy note, saying that due to the attention the case received, he managed to find a job at a news company as a journalist. Subject: a full playthrough of Amanda the Adventurer, 2022. A horror game in which the player must solve puzzles to uncover VHS tapes containing episodes of Amanda the Adventurer, an in-universe discontinued TV show. The main protagonist of this TV show is the antagonist of the horror game. Interference point at the end of the second puzzle. Result: alongside the VHS tape used to progress was an item resembling SCP-3922. The item was placed on the TV in the room prior to insertion of the tape, the contents of which vastly changing. Amanda is now instructing the player to assist her in escape, while being pursued by 3 instances of 3922A. Interestingly, Wooly is unseen. The secondary protagonist of the game, his role being Amanda's assistant. He is aware and disapproving of Amanda's malicious intentions. Subject: Wolf Creek, 2005, R. Interference point: when Mick Taylor gives Liz, Christy, and Ben water that causes them to fall unconscious. Result: as the 3 tourists start to feel the effects of their water being tampered with, the sound of a vehicle screeching to a halt outside alerts Mick, only to be met by a team of SCP-3922A, who barge in through the front door and shoot him in the neck, before quickly approaching the shocked and horrified Liz, Christy, and Ben, who they take outside while assuring them of their safety, before they eventually pass out. Meanwhile, Mick, who is still alive despite being shot in the neck, attempts to shoot back at the 3922A instances, who proceed to beat, stab, and shoot Mick in various parts of the body for most of the film's remaining runtime, where afterwards, they drag him outside and throw him into a ditch, finally shooting him dead, leaving him to be found by a passing motorist, the same one who was shot dead by Mick in the original movie. SCP-3922A instances then proceed to send evidence of Mick's crimes to the Australian police, who investigate his home and find his large stock of cars and traveler's possessions, including video cameras, confirming he was a killer and sexual assaulter, who was behind several mysterious disappearances in the Outback in the past. The final scene shows Liz, Christy, and Ben in an Australian hospital, being aided to by doctors, nurses, and police, with the news of Mick Taylor's body being found, and his crimes being exposed, much to their shock, having coming so close to having becoming his newest victims. Where afterwards, they go back home. A series of title cards state that the families of victims of Mick Taylor were given full compensation. Mick's home was fully cleaned out and eventually demolished, and that public discourse and controversy over the revelation of the murders lead to reforms and improvements of Australia's law enforcement, especially when it comes to crimes that take place in the Outback. The film ends with the Swedish couple from the original film driving down the road in the Outback safely. Subject: The Mist, 2007, R. Interference point: beginning of the film. Result: the film proceeds normally, with the citizens of Brighton, Maine, dealing with the severe thunderstorm as David Drayton, his wife Stephanie, and their 8-year-old son Billy, and the other characters, deal with a rather unsupernatural storm when compared to the original movie, with no mist or Lovecraftian monsters being seen. In one scene, a soldier named Jessup reveals that talking to two of his fellow soldiers in a local military base, that a government project to discover other dimensions was indefinitely halted due to the intervention of a Three Moons organization, who declared their experiment too dangerous and risky to the local residents, with the mysterious group supposedly entering into talks with the confused US government, who reportedly had never heard of the group before. The film ends with David, Stephanie, and Billy happily reuniting after the violent thunderstorm. Note: I seriously hope that we just didn't possibly give the Three Moons Initiative access to interdimensional technology. Dr. Naismith. Subject: Eden Lake, 2008. R. Interference point: after the teens pull out knives on Steve and Jenny. Result: the scuffle is interrupted when a man off-screen yells at the group, demanding to know what is going on, with it being revealed to be a group of SCP-3922-A, with flashlights pointed at them, to which Steve, Jenny, and Brett's friends immediately stand down, upon realizing they are armed. But after Bonnie runs at the soldiers, resulting in them being shot with a dart, Brett is sent into a rage and attacks the 3922-A commander, who simply punches him in the face, sending him to the ground unconscious, much to everybody's shock. The 3922-A arrests the teens while taking in Steve and Jenny for questioning, who, after a few minutes of talking with two 3922-A instances, are let go and are helped in, being given their stuff back. Meanwhile, Brett and his gang are interrogated by 3922-A instances about their activities, which include abuse, harassment, stealing, and attempted murder, with most of them being scared straight, with the exception of Brett, who attempts to attack the 3922-A instances upon being enraged by them, being forced to the ground. Soon enough, the kids are taken back into town, where the parents are all visited and informed of what their kids have been doing, much to their shock and disbelief, with John and the other parents angrily trying to refute this, the father of Brett, and go to comfort their kids and trying to fight for their innocence, only to be met with most of their kids confessing, scared and crying of being caught and facing punishment, with Brett simply staring blankly at his parents, while the 3922-A instances provide proof and evidence of their kids' activities and crimes, with him and his gang's local reputation in the town basically being completely ruined. Eventually, the kids are all sentenced to juvenile detention alongside therapy, with various sentences depending on their specific crimes, with Brett receiving the most severe sentence due to his psychotic behavior. Alongside this, 3922-A instances, due to reports of juvenile delinquency and poor parenting, report to the local English government, successfully managing to start an investigation and program in order to bring awareness to being good and responsible parents, while dissuading the youth from engaging in illegal activities, especially serious ones like abuse or murder. The film ends with Steve and Jenny returning home, relieved and happy to have been saved just in time before things escalated to the point that something truly terrible happened, intercut with Brett sitting in his cell. Further tests are to be documented in SCP-3922 Extended Test Logs, Volume 2.